welcome to the Stunning Up podcast, where we talk to entrepreneurs, artists, creators, technologists about their work, about how they shake things up. We delve into their stories to inspire you, but also obviously to help you out on your own journey. Today, our guest works for a very large and very well-known company who has ambitions to be, despite its size, as fast as startups when it's time to innovate and bring new products to the market. The example we talk about show that it's possible and led to the development of a wearable tech that can save lives. Philipp Wehn is a Digital Innovation Manager at Siemens Mobility. In our discussion, Philipp explains the advantages of their approach to innovation and shares some of the challenges he faced along the way. Now let's get into it with the very dynamic and driven Philipp Wehn. So welcome, Philipp, to the show. Really happy to have you here.
Hey, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Perfect. The sun is shining. Spring is finally here in Berlin, and it's a beautiful day at Factory Berlin. How are you?
I'm great. I'm ready for a beer at the beer garden.
That sounds good.
Right. So, Philipp, thanks a lot for being with us. It's great. So you are a Digital Innovation Manager at Siemens Mobility. So maybe what we could do to get started is if you could explain to us a bit what Siemens Mobility is all about and what your role is exactly.
Yeah, of course. So Siemens Mobility is actually quite a big business. So we do several things. Our core business are trains. For example, if you're in Germany and you take the ICE, the high-speed train from Deutsche Bahn, this one is built by us. So we build trains, but we also do signaling technology, which are all the boxes and cables that you see when you take a train in a city. So we make trains and the train ecosystem around the track work in a safe way so that people can use public transport like trains, in this case, every single day all over the world. We also do the signaling technology for street infrastructure. So this is our core business. But we also set the mission for us to shape connected mobility and be a number one mobility company in the future.
Great.
And yeah.
And you are kind of in charge or involved in innovation. What's happening in the innovation field at the moment?
Correct. So I just recently joined Siemens exactly 1 year ago. So 1st of May last year.
Still brand new?
I still feel brand new, yes. Yes, and I personally had a startup during my studies and worked a lot in the automotive industry. So I've always been in touch with the startup way of doing things, but also with the corporate world. So when I came to Siemens, I applied.
Just before, I'm sorry, what kind of startup was that? What was the idea?
It was a startup in the fitness and nutrition industry.
Okay.
And my co-founder and I, we built an online fitness community, online fitness program, which filled the gap between personal training and the standardized fitness programs that you can buy online for like 60, 70 euros, where you just get a bunch of PDFs. So we wanted to fill the gap between those two offerings in the market.
Okay, so you studied international business. I think you did an exchange program in the U.S. You had a fitness startup, and then you end up in innovation and mobility.
Yes, correct. And the funny story behind that is when I was not a child, but when I was studying at the beginning of my studies, I always said, okay, I'll never go to Siemens. Because I come from Bavaria, Erlangen, and there every single person I knew, so it felt like that, worked for Siemens.
Okay.
And then during my studies, we had a case study with Siemens Mobility in Munich. And it was about the scenario development of cities in 10, 15, and 20 years. And it was linked to their technology of autonomous bus systems and autonomous tram systems. And I was like, wow. This company is doing really interesting things. So this is how Siemens became interesting for me.
An autonomous bus and tram system means that there's no cable, right? It's battery powered or something like that.
Yeah, and no driver basically.
Oh yeah, that's
No driver. So
yeah.
we're doing a pilot in Hamburg right now, where in the half the city you will have, I don't know when, in some years, you will have an autonomous bus shuttle for all the tourists without a driver, but not only autonomous by the vehicle, but even more important by the infrastructure around the vehicle. So the infrastructure is communicating with the vehicle, which makes it much safer than, for example, if you just have Tesla or Audi that just has its own sensors, but doesn't communicate with infrastructure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you were one of the conference speakers at the Wear It Innovation Summit in Berlin, June 25th and 26th. What are you going to talk about?
I will be talking about corporate innovation, and corporate innovation linked to one of our innovation projects, which was my first project within Siemens, which is our Safe Watch, so a wearable tech for maintenance workers on the track ecosystem.
Okay, you've worked on this, but if we want the audience to understand a bit better what that does, can you explain this to us a bit?
Yeah, of course. So the starting point of the project was that we observed the problem. The problem was or is that every year there are people dying on track during maintenance work. So in Germany, there are approximately 10 people dying every single year while they're doing maintenance work. So the scenario looks like this. They work on track, and when a train comes, there's someone in Germany called the SIPO. He looks out for the train, then he blows into a horn, which makes a loud sound, and the people jump off track. Okay, so there's human failure involved.
Pretty basic.
Yes, and pretty, in my opinion, pretty outdated. Mm-hmm. So we looked at this and we saw a big problem and a lack of safety for people. On the other hand, we observed the market of wearable tech, which is growing globally. If you look at cooperations between Levi's and Google, that's one of my favorite ones. They produced this jacket where you double tap and you get an Uber. It's just a small use case, but it's amazing. Yep. Then you have the Apple Watch. You have applications like the Google Glass. We'll see when this enters the market. I don't know. But we said, okay, why don't we go for wearable tech and connect those workers to our signaling system and make their life safer and easier and use the newest tech. So this was basically the idea to solve the problem last year.
Okay, and how does that work?
We thought it would be simple, and we wanted to keep it simple. And that's why we started this project as a pilot of new work. So we wanted to do everything different than as we've done it before. So we didn't want to develop a product over 3 to 4 years, invest a lot of money into it, and then present it to the market. We wanted to do it like a startup with the lean startup method. So we wanted to do it the other way around. We said, okay, if we have an idea, first thing we do is we use the ecosystem in Berlin, get a partner on board to support us with the method, and then we go and talk to the people who could wear this wearable, which are the workers. So This is how we kicked it off.
And who was involved in that?
We were talking to several consultancies in Berlin, and then we partnered with Aperto, which is a digital consultancy acquired by IBM.
Okay.
And they are experts for methods like UX design, rapid prototyping. So we partnered with them, and the 1st of July last year, we kicked the project off, and their UX designer, she came up to me and said, okay, next week we have to talk to the people on track. I was like, what? I just joined Siemens. I have no idea how to talk to these people. I have no idea how to get in touch with them. Mm-hmm. And she said, yeah, but that's what we have to do. Otherwise, we waste time and money.
Yeah.
So this is what we did, and we made it happen. So we got in touch with so many different people and colleagues, and there's one colleague here at Siemens. She's just brilliant with her network. She got us in touch with Larissa Zeichert, who's the CEO of LAT, which is a a maintenance company in
Mm-hmm.
Berlin.
Yep.
And then she said, okay, let's meet at our building site, bring some pizza for my people, for my workers, and then we can have a chat with them. And 1 week after we kicked off the project, we talked to the people that could use a wearable.
Pizza always works.
Pizza always works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it sounds very interesting. When you look at large corporations, they've in the past they've been very self-centered in terms of innovation. So innovation had to come from inside, and over the past 10, 15 years, with open source type of approach and collaborations, I would say that corporations have been a bit more open. I'm really interested to understand how was it, for, again, on paper it works. You brought in a consultancy, but how was it for you to work with, to talk to the maintenance workers? How was it internally with Siemens? How was the experience?
It was a great, but also a funny experience and a funny ride. So, as mentioned, it was and it is a pilot for our new work initiatives. But the feedback from our internal stakeholders, from my colleagues all over the world, is positive. So, in my opinion, you really have to do it this way. You have to take the idea, you have to position it with one project owner, which was me, and you have to position it outside of your organization in terms of office infrastructure. So we have our innovation lab based at Factory Berlin, which is the community of innovators. And there we took the idea, if we talk about location, and we said, okay, if we need any exchange with the organization, we can go there. And from this point, whenever we needed support from the organization, they were so incredibly helpful. So we were in touch with colleagues from Belgium, with colleagues from Finland, with colleagues from Australia right now, from Hong Kong, from India. And whenever we had questions about their ecosystem there and the problems that they are facing in the market, they were always kind of excited to be part of this innovation project, which was outside of our organization, which was really fast, which also led to a first Lego prototype after 50 days of work. So this kind of different project, different way of work is really, really interesting for internal colleagues who are with Siemens for about 25, 30 years.
Just so if for me to understand correctly, so when you say you were talking to colleagues, in Belgium, Australia, you're talking about Siemens employees, right? And I'm trying to understand when you talk about the Factory Berlin and positioning this outside of the company. What do you mean exactly? Does that mean that your setup, your office is at the Factory Berlin, or you go there for working sessions or?
My office, my working place is at the Factory Berlin. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I was here full time for the time of this project last year, and whenever we had a meeting, whenever we had something to do, it was always here.
And why do you say it's it's an advantage to position this pilot outside of the company?
Because you create a different mindset. So whenever you talk to people or you invite them here, the first thing they see and hear when they enter the building is young people. You see founders, you see startups, you see the cafe, you listen, you hear the music, even if you don't realize it at the first moment. There's just a nice music going on in the background, and then you get a coffee. And the coffee is not the standard coffee from our Siemens department. It's just a nice flat white, which is served in a nice way. And when you kick off the meeting, you are in a different world. You forget all the bad thoughts that you could have had before, and you just start working in a positive and in a future-oriented way. So this is why I believe putting something here creates more value for an innovation project like this.
Okay, and you mentioned that you had to talk to the maintenance workers. There are not necessarily the type of people who think startup and lean startup when they wake up in the morning. How was your not to disrespect anybody, but it's just a different focus. How is it for you and the team to work with the people who are actually for whom you're trying to solve the problem?
It was great. Like those people, they really know what they do. And this first meeting with them at the building site, we came in and we talked to them. Hey, we want to build a wearable, which is a vest, and that could vibrate. And he looked at us eating his pizza, and he said, "A vest? Why a vest? It's like that doesn't make any sense." And then I said, "Okay, what do you think about a helmet?" Yeah, we don't always wear helmets. We don't have to, so I wouldn't wear it, but. Look at us. We wear watches, so we always look at our watch. So anything that is on our arms, that would work. And maybe if it would vibrate or something, we would feel it immediately. And we were like, "That's cool." Nobody from our corporate or from our startup ecosystem could have told us this information that he just told us, which is obvious for him because he's doing it every single day.
Yeah, and it's a great way for you guys to validate that you will not have to force the end user to use your product, right? Because you did not pick the right gear.
Absolutely, yeah. They keep asking right now. They keep asking when the first MVP, so the prototype, the first wristbands, when they will be ready for testing. So we and Wear It. We produce those 10 wearables right now, and in June we can tell those workers, "Hey, we're ready for testing. We'll come and visit and bring pizza again."
Great! Don't forget the beer to celebrate this time.
I don't drink alcohol.
Okay, but they will.
I need a protein shake.
A protein shake.
For them, if it's after hours, I can bring beer.
Okay, so you've done the process. You had some partners. You're saying it's a pilot project, so is this a new way of innovating, or when you refer to pilot project, are you referring to the method or the product that you actually developed?
It's both. It's a type of innovation, and it's also the way we were working and we are working on it. So as I described the portfolio at the beginning of our talk, a wearable is outside of our current portfolio. So it's not an innovation that just builds up on let's say we have a product 1 and we make it a product 1.1. So we make it another version, a better version. Yeah. It's something completely new. So this is the one thing that is innovative about it. It's a new product, but also the project scope and the time that we gave us and the method that we used is a new way of innovation. And through this pilot, we found out that we definitely want to use the ecosystem in Berlin and the factory Berlin for future projects as well. So when there is an idea, take it, put it into another ecosystem, use a lean startup method, innovate fast, test early, do rapid prototyping, and get the market and every single stakeholder involved as early as possible.
And how much time did you give yourself for that project?
So we worked together with Aperto for 3 months. And after 50 days, as mentioned, we worked together with the Innovation Radicals. They have a IoT prototyping lab, and they focus on Lego IoT prototypes. So we built a Lego prototype together with them, which had the functionality of the wearable. We connected a Lego train with an Onion Omega, small computer that built a Wi-Fi, and we connected the wearable to another Onion Omega, which connected with the Wi-Fi of the other one. And with this Lego prototype, we could showcase our innovation, which was just after 50 days. And then we made a roadshow and talked to as many potential customers as we could after 50 days. And as mentioned, to the POC, proof of concept, we gave us 3 months, so 90 days.
Okay, so building Lego all day, that's a pretty cool gig.
Yeah.
You've talked about the all the good feedback, the collaboration that you had, but I'm sure that there were a lot of challenges as well using
Yes.
that methodology. What were they?
The challenges, they came from the industry, definitely. So we had a great idea. We had a problem that we wanted to solve. But part of the stakeholders are also the unions, the Eisenbahnbundesamt in Germany.
Yeah.
And there are strict regulations if you want to warn people that work on track. So, for example, individual warning is not allowed currently. You always have to do collective warning, which means you send a huge audio signal to the group of the people and the whole group reacts. The wearable is an individual warning. So, we had a problem. Then there are more regulations, like vibration is not, there are no studies on vibration, how strong the vibration has to be. So at the beginning, we wanted to replace the Zippo and all the other technologies in the market. And then with our methodology, of course, we had to redefine our product and the scope of our product, like almost every 2 weeks. So we started with an idea, then we said, okay, we can't do it. Then we say, why don't we create the digital twin of the building site and the train ecosystem? Like a whole system around the warning. And in the end, we came to the point that we said, okay, why don't we just start with adding a safety layer, letting the SIPO, the guy that watches for the train and does the sound, or the other technologies used, we leave them in place and we just add another layer of safety, because then we won't have any problems with the regulations. So the problems were that there are many, many, many regulations in the rail industry, and you have to work your way around.
So you figured it out then, right?
Yep.
Okay, and you said that you're producing the wearables at the moment, and they'll be officially used or live in the next few months, or?
Yes. 1st of June, we will have 10 wearables ready, including a user interface where you can see where your works are, where you can send the alarm, and we can talk to the wearable through any signal that we want to give. And as part of my talk at the Innovation Summit, I will also present the wearable with some people from the audience, because it will be ready then. And we want to show our MVP, our product, to the people then as well.
And so basically the plan is to sell this to maintenance companies?
Yes, correct. So we are in touch with these companies right now, but we are also in touch with the big players in the industry, especially in Germany. Deutsche Bahn, with BVG in Berlin, because especially in this market, you have to create a movement to get a product into the market. And if you have the big stakeholders, like we are one of the big stakeholders, but also Deutsche Bahn, BVG, and then the companies that do the maintenance work, if you have all of them on your side and they say this product makes sense, then we want to sell it, but we won't sell it in a traditional way. So we will not say this wearable costs $300, but we will provide safety as a service. So this is how we will call it. So we will give out the wearable basically for free, and there will be a monthly payment for the usage of the wearable that the companies should pay to us.
Okay. And so basically the project started as an innovation group, but now you're getting into a commercialization strategy. So is this still you and your team pushing this, or is this, job moved to a different team?
We're just at the point where we have to think about this question, because, and this is the best thing about corporate, to be honest, we behaved like a startup. I really felt like an entrepreneur. I had my idea, I had my own setup, and I could just move fast like a startup. But now that we come to the point that, let's say, a customer says, okay, I want this, or a big stakeholder says, we put this into the market, we can go corporate, and we have all the resources, also on the financial side, but also the knowledge on how to produce such a product, on how to commercialize such a product. This is one of the big positive things about corporate innovation then.
That's true.
Yeah.
And do you have other, projects in the pipeline?
Honestly, yes, but I actually don't want to talk about them yet.
That's fine.
Yeah. So we think about how can we structure our innovation setup here.
Yeah.
For example, if you look at other corporates like Audi or Lufthansa, many people know their innovation labs. They have their own brand and own name. So we think about doing that and then creating a system on how to push innovation through such an engine from idea to MVP within 6 months, and then scale the product with our organization. So there are some things coming up, which you always can see on my LinkedIn profile, because I really like to share what we do with the people. But about specific projects, I don't want to talk about it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's my job to try to,
of course,
to get some scoops. So you came up with that innovation process. You put people together. You wanted to save lives, basically, and develop a product that's going to be out there.
Yeah.
Can people participate in that, or can companies, startups join the movement? How are you guys set up?
Definitely. Like, we're always open. If I go back 5 weeks ago, we had the reverse pitch at Factory Berlin, which is a format where corporates pitch their innovation projects within 5 minutes to the community. And there we presented the wearable. And at the end of the pitch, I gave the opportunity to the community to say, hey, thinking about the serious production of such a wearable. Do you do something like that? Have you done something like that before? If yes, come talk to us. We're always open for collaboration. Do you have any idea on how to increase the battery life of such a wearable? Get in touch with us. So we really, really encourage the startups here to do open innovation together with us. And we're always open for new ideas for this innovation project, but also for other topics. So if somebody, a founder or startup, is in the field of mobility right now and he says, I got this great idea, for example, talking about cybersecurity or something like that, and I want to pitch it to Siemens, I want to get in touch, I think we are a great door opener right here in Berlin to just talk and channel the ideas into our organization later.
Okay, so if people have great ideas in the field of mobility, they can reach out to you.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, great. So, which means that you may end up with a ton of people with a lot of ideas. How do you guys prioritize what you work on next?
For this, again, we go into our corporate world a little bit more, because there we have really, really experienced people in our management, which were traveling and working all around the globe, which were doing huge projects, which were doing innovation projects. So definitely the decision-making process is done by our core organization and by our management, but also influenced by trends here in the ecosystem again, and by the people that work here at Factory.
Okay, great. And as a young guy in a huge corporation, do you feel like you said you felt like an entrepreneur, you came up with ideas, very motivated, excited, but did you, and I'm sure you did, but do you feel sometimes that in the big corporations, you get a lot of pushback because, people are used to do things in a certain way, and you are kind of buttering them a bit with a new idea that does not necessarily fit with what they're doing, or that will not necessarily help them reach their target.
I mean, you hear these sentences over and over again, and basically it's true. And that's why it is so important to take the idea out of your organization, because then you can develop. And if you then just get in touch and you want help from the people, they are always open to help. But if you do it in the organization, and if you want to change the way people are doing things, and if you want to change the things that they are doing, of course they will not be ready to do it. So for me as a young person in a corporate, it was easy to push this project forward, but there was a reason for that. And the reason is that I have a great mentoring team, which was especially last year our head of strategy within mobility management. He left Siemens, unfortunately. He's now the CEO of Factory Berlin. So he really liked the startup ecosystem that much that he's now shaping it. But also my mentoring team from our organization, they gave me freedom, and with this freedom, they gave me the chance to create and develop the ways of working and the ideas. And whenever I needed help, or let's also say when I needed budget, they pushed it to a corporate way of handling things. So why do you need budget? Where's your business case? That's fine, because as a startup, sometimes you would spend money on things that you don't really need. But with such a mentorship, you just focus on why do I do things, why do I behave, how I behave, and should I really do it? So yeah.
Great. So if we have, if there are startups of company out there who would like to work with you, what advice would you give them? When it's time to work with a large corporate organization.
You have to bring time to the table, definitely. So if you want to work together with a corporate, somebody can tell you in your face, wow, this idea is amazing, we should do it. But I bet that in 99%, this person is not able to make the decision and to pay for it. And this takes time. And this is okay, because such a process, if you just go and you combine, we always combine different offers from different companies. And then we talk about the offering, and then we have all the technology behind, like SAP. And if you want to order something then from somebody, he has to be, the company, the startup has to be inside SAP, and that takes time. So if you want to work with a startup, don't put too much pressure on if you want to work with a corporate as a startup, don't put too much pressure on the corporate, and always think about several opportunities to work with several corporates, because you basically, if 5 people tell you it's a good idea, there's one person who has the money. It can be difficult to really work together with a corporate.
Okay, so they need patience, they need flexibility,
Yes.
different ideas, they need to understand
Yes.
ultimately who's the decision maker.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for the advice. I would like to move into a different theme to talk a bit more about wearables and tech development.
Yeah.
You're focused on mobility at the moment, and you have different projects in the pipeline. Where do you see the biggest technological development in the next few years?
In the field of mobility?
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely in the field of connected mobility. So currently you have scooters on the streets, you have cars on the streets, you have bikes on the streets, you have buses, and then you have trains. But those are all like silos, single ecosystems. And there's this one scenario that I really like to talk about, is if you have a huge venue like the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Berlin, and the event is over, all those people come out of the venue. And all those people basically just had a great time, and they want to get from A to B. And we have all those different modes of transport. But how do we get the best way to transport every single one of them to the best location? And this is a field where, in my opinion, software platforms, AI, they build a really important, they play a really important role. And if any company finds a solution to just create value for people getting from A to B, creating value like, hey, if you stay in this restaurant for like 30 minutes, you get 50% discount on the drink, and then your taxi ride will also be cheaper, and we will put 2 other people into your taxi because they want to get to the same place. If you can offer this to the people, that's a huge potential, in my opinion.
So basically, you're saying that the biggest growth for innovation is not necessarily in building a hyperloop or flying drones or flying cars. It's more into, or it could be into optimizing the different means of transportations that we already have.
I think so. In the short and in the midterm, definitely this is the big chance. I'm a big fan of all the technologies and of drones and hyperloop, and that's all cool. And I think I'm the biggest fan of autonomous cars because I love cars. I have my own car, to be honest, and I use it in Berlin every single day. But autonomous driving, that would be a huge added value. But right now we see these trends that there are more and more modes of transportation. Like, how do you call them in English? Those kick scooters, where you take a scooter and you just use it, and they have a electro engine as well.
Yep.
They are just coming to the market, added on to all those bikes standing everywhere in the cities, and the regular scooters standing everywhere in the cities. So there is a huge potential right now if you can combine, or if you can create value together with the city, together with all those modes of transport.
And in terms of wearable technology, you've had your experience with the project that we talked about. Do you see anything exciting coming up?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you talk about all those modes of transport, one day, I am sure, all of that will work more or less autonomous, buses and cars. But people on a bike or people walking, they will be not part of this ecosystem. So you have cars talking to buses, buses talking to cars, and the signals on the streets, they are also talking to all modes of transport. But I'm sure that using wearable tag to connect the worker, the people, to the IoT is really, really important thing. How to do it? Like, if you have a Levi's jacket, as I mentioned, and you have a sensor in there that communicates with the cars, maybe one day the car does not have to see the little child behind the bus, because the child is communicating, thanks to wearable tech, directly with the car. So it cannot really happen that the kid is run over by the car, because it's just 1 second between the car seeing the kid. And yeah, I hope you understand what I mean.
Yes, I understand. I think I really enjoy the example you gave about the Mercedes-Benz arena. I've had my experience leaving that venue after a show, and it's not the best mobility experience that you could have at the moment. So
not at all.
The experience you talked about, where things are integrated, it's a very attractive idea. Yeah. However, I think based on what you mentioned, about your project and the regulations and the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, I think coming to this level of integration will take a while, but I definitely agree with you. It's going to be very exciting when we can get there.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that pilots, prototypes, MVPs, that's the key to changing the ecosystem as it is right now. And that's why we focus on setting up a pilot here in Berlin with our wearable project. So that we can just show the world, hey, it is possible, we can do it. it's just a small pilot, but what can be done in a small way can also be done in a big way.
And just to kind of finish that, I don't want to take too much of your time. Maybe one last question. You've talked about where you see the technology evolving. Where do you see the biggest business opportunity? Is this at the same place or elsewhere?
In the field of mobility or in the field of wearable tech?
I would say both.
Both. Ooh. Well, short-term business potential, definitely autonomous driving of trains and cars. You can make a lot of money with that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And in the field of wearables, it's a B2C business. So if you look at the Apple Watch, I think Apple sells more watches than any other watch brand in the world. I have my second Apple Watch. I'm addicted to it. If there would be an Apple Glass or a Google Glass, I would definitely wear it. So I think for the wearable market, business potential is definitely in the field of connecting people thanks to wearable tech, even better than smartwatches do with different things like, I don't know. I think I would even let them put a sensor into my hand, or I don't know. Yeah. I think there's a big business potential for big corporates.
So you're an early adopter.
Definitely. Yes.
So for those of you listening to us who want to try new stuff, Philipp might be a good person to reach out to.
Yeah, definitely. There's just a brand new app. I'm really into food as well. I'm a foodie, and there's a new app that just came out 2 weeks ago, which is called Disco Eats. It's just in Berlin, and it combines the level of tables that have a reservation in a restaurant. And then if there are not too many reservations, you can make a reservation over this app and get up to 50% on the menu. That's great. If there are lots of free tables, they can just give out the table and make money, but less money.
That's great. It's called disco, as in the disco music?
Yes, correct. And then Eats.
Disco Eat. Okay, yeah. Great. I'll look it up.
I love it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. I'd like to finish with a 7 rapid fire questions to end the interview. Would that be okay?
Cool. Yes.
Okay. So, what's the first thing you do in the morning?
Think about breakfast.
Great.
I'm really hungry in the morning.
Great. What was the last book that you read?
It's a German name, so Traumberuf Keynote Speaker. So perfect job, keynote speaker.
Great. We'll look it up. The one thing that keeps you motivated?
Basically, my fiance.
Good answer.
She really motivates me every single day, and I want to create a nice, enjoyable life for us.
Great. What time do you get up in the morning?
6:30.
What time do you go to bed?
10 p.m.
Are you pretty consistent with those hours?
Yes, I am. I'm deep into sports, so I know how much sleep and rest my body needs. I really enjoy sleeping, so I go to bed at the same time almost every single day and get up at 6:30, sometimes earlier because I have to travel. But I'm consistent with sleeping, eating, sports, and working, and everything in my life, basically.
Which habit have you developed recently that most improved your life?
Most recently, I'm always writing a journal. And in this journal, I always focus on every single part of my life, which is business, sports, but also social life, family. And I always monitor that every single week. And writing this journal, especially for work, helped me to develop me and my energy during work a lot.
You do this every day or once a week?
I do it every single day, in the morning and in the evening. And maybe also interesting for you and our people who listen to this, I'm currently writing and working on a book, which will be called Die Unternehmermethode. So I want to help people working for corporates to structure their daily life a bit more. And I'm currently talking to successful entrepreneurs in Germany. For example, the founder of Flixbus,
Yep.
talking about how they structure their life, how they set goals. And I will use the findings from all those interviews to build up a journal for employees of corporates that helps them structure their week, structure their day, and also be thankful for what they have.
Great. Please let us know once you're done writing the book.
Will do, promise.
All right, last question. How do you measure if you're successful?
As mentioned, my journal helps me a lot. So I always set goals, and thanks to a journal, you see whether you reach goals as well. And you have to do that like weekly, monthly, but also after a year. You always have to look back, and only if you look back and you look where you started, you see whether you are successful. And if I look back right now, exactly 1 year ago, I was moving to Berlin. I just graduated. And now 1 year later, I have a huge network of people, of interesting startups, founders, but also corporate people in Berlin and globally. And if I look back now, it shows me, okay, this was a successful year. But you should not only do this after a year, you should try to do this every week, every 2 weeks, or every month in order to measure, hey, did I move forward in my life? Did I stay? Or did I maybe, in my health sector, did I maybe make a step back? So you should always monitor what you're doing in life.
Great. Well, thanks for the advice. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Philipp, for your time. You will be at the Wear It Innovation Summit in Berlin on June 25th and 26th. We're really looking forward to meeting you in person.
Cool. I'm looking forward as well. And thank you for all the interesting questions.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys, that's it for today. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. Quick reminder, we'll be at the Wear It Innovation Summit in Berlin, June 25th and 26th. This is Europe's leading conference and platform for professionals in the wearable technology business. So if you're around, please let us know. We're always happy to meet up. Also, you can get in touch with us to ask questions or give us some feedback on the podcast. You can also check us out at stanana.com. Thanks a lot for listening, and have a great one.